Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, an introduction to the Cricut machines. Now on Friday's episode of the show, we made a glass block accent lamp with a wooden base, a remote control, colored LEDs, a really cool project. And I did say at the end of the show that we were going to finish it off on Tuesday's episode of the show, and that's what we're doing today. And it all starts off with a Cricut machine. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Cricut machine is, this is a machine that draws things. It's a computer-controlled machine where you can make greeting cards. It will cut things. It creases and folds things. It does all kinds of cool stuff. But for today, we're going to be concentrating on the machine cutting some adhesive vinyl. So let's head into the office and I'll show you guys how this thing works, how we can use it, and how we're going to finish off our glass block accent lamp. Well, the way the Cricut machine works is that you need to place your design in their software. And their software used to be web-based, but now it's an application. So we can pull up the app. We'll start off with opening a new project. Now you can do that either here or you can do it up here in the top right corner. Both of them accomplish the exact same thing. Now what this will do is open up your working grid here, and you can see that it's in inches across here. So these measurements are pretty much right on the money. Now, if you want to change your measurements and that sort of thing, you can go into settings from the drop-down menu, and then you can see here you're in English, full grid, imperial, and for me, where you want to save your projects, the cloud and on the computer. So I want to start my project. Now, I want to turn the glass block into kind of a diorama, and you'll understand a little more as I go. But I want it to look something like a room, and I want to create a picture frame on the wall. So the first thing that I'm going to do is create my frame, and it will be layered vinyl. So over here on the left, we have shapes. So I'm going to click that shape and create just a square. And it will automatically populate it here in your work area. Now this is 3.111 inches by 3.111 inches, and it really doesn't matter what size it is right now because we're going to change it. Because it's a square, I don't want a square frame, I want a rectangular frame, so I'm going to have to click the unlock here. This unlock keeps it locked in its configuration, so it will always be a square. I want to change it to a rectangle. So we'll unlock, and we can take our little green dial here, and this allows you to drag it around and change your size. So it really doesn't matter what size for now. We just want to work with the image, and then we can adjust it for the size when it cuts it later. So I'm going to line it up over here with the number 1 on the 1 inch, and I'll use my little sizing tool here, and let's make it I don't know, let's make it a 4 by 6. There you go. So there's your 4 and your 6, and as I said, these measurements are accurate. This will be the back of our frame, or our frame pieces. It will also serve as the background for our picture, and I'll show you that in just a second. So we want this to be black. If you want to change your color of it, you can change it to red, you can change it to whatever you like. But I'm going to put it to black for our frame because I will be cutting this out of black vinyl. I now want to make the inside of my frame, which would be the picture. So I can either go over here to shapes and create a new square, or I can come all the way over here to the right, and you can see it here. We've got the duplicate. So I can click duplicate, and there it is. It will populate another 4 by 6 square. And just so we don't get confused which we're working on, we can click the color and the paper in the frame will be white. So there you go. Now we have two distinct pieces. But for this does not look like a frame. So we need to shrink this just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this one down to be a 3x5. And then we'll lock it back up. And if we drag it on here, now we can see that we have a frame. So what about our image in the middle? Well, this is where it's going to get a little bit confusing, or it can be confusing. What I want is a music note in the middle of this frame. So I have already gone online, found a musical silhouette, and we can import it now into our project. So I can just come over here to this upload tab right in this corner, and we'll just click it. And now here is our image that I uploaded earlier, but I'm going to do it again just to show you. So here it'll say image, upload your images for free from Vector, blah, 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 or you can just upload an image here. We will browse. And of course, I will just come in here to my desktop, and here we are. We've brought the image into place. We now need to decide what type of image this is. And it's a pretty simple image, so we will just click simple. As it gets more detailed, of course, you would choose the different types. Because this is not a proper file, the cuttings are made with an SVG file. This is a JPEG, so we need to convert it. So I'm going to click on simple, and then we will continue. And this will bring up our image here. We now need to fix this up. The thing is, it looks fine here, but that's because it's still a JPEG. We're just going to enlarge this so that we have a better view of what we're looking at. So we'll click on the background of it, which will bring up all of this grid here. Click preview. All right, see all these little dots that are sticking out here? It will cut those little dots and it will look terrible. So you have your little cursor here, just hover over top of each one of those dots and click on it. And then click preview to see if you actually clicked on it to get rid of it. There you go. You can see I just got rid of this one. So we'll move up to the next one and we'll click on it and then preview. And there's another one gone. Now you have to do this for the entire image. And it is a bit of a pain in the butt, but it doesn't really take that long. You can get for free SVG images off the internet. So if you don't feel like doing this or going through this process, you can very easily find a music note image, an SVG file, and then you won't have to convert the image as I'm doing here. So I'm going to finish taking off all these little bumps and that sort of thing. And when I'm done, I'll come back and I'll see you. Well, I have my image the way that I want it, and now it's time to save it. So we'll just click continue, and you'll be given a couple options. You can save it as a print and then cut image, and what that is it will print it on a piece of paper and then cut it out, or we can just save it as a cut image, which is what we want. So there you go. We'll save this and click save. And here is our image right here. So with this image now, we will just highlight this and then insert image, and there it is. There is our music note that we've just done for our frame. So I'm going to rotate the frame and make it in a portrait orientation. So all you need to do for that is highlight your section, and you can either do it manually by grabbing a hold of this rotation tab, or you can just go up here to rotate, highlight it, and put 90 degrees and hit enter. And we can do the same thing with this one here. rotate it at 90 degrees. And here we have our frame. As you can see, this will go in here. And then our music note, oh, we're too big. So grabbing our sizing tool, we can just size it up. And this is kind of what we're looking for the wall. Now here's the thing. Let's get this black out of the way. We want these two to be together. We want these to cut as one piece. So you just highlight them. And then way over here, see the group? We group them, and watch this. This is the great part. Now you can click slice. And what this does, look at this. Now we can get rid of our music note and we can get rid of the cut behind, and we now have this. And what this will do is it will cut the outer perimeter, and as well it will cut out our music note. Then when we layer our vinyl, we get our framed music note. So I'm going to size this to the way I want it, and then I'm going to come back and see you and show you how we're going to cut this out. Well, I have sized this down now to be a 1.5 inch wide by a 2-inch frame. It's much smaller than what we were working on before. And now once you're happy with it, it's time now to click Make It. And it will take the layers now and separate them into different color mats. So here we see we have our white mat, and over here we have our black mat. But how do we cut them out? Well, that's what we're going to do next. Well, now you'll notice here on the layout screen that we have an exact image there of this mat. And this has the same dimensions as our project, and this is where our vinyl is going to attach. So we're going to get a piece of white vinyl and put it in place on our cutting mat. This is sticky, so it will hold it in place. So now that you have your vinyl loaded, you can open your machine and we'll head back to the computer, to the design space. So at this point you want to click to continue, and once it connects to your Cricut machine, you will see that it will tell you to load your vinyl. You want to make sure that your machine is set for vinyl. It's telling us to load the vinyl in place, so we will place it just like this. Make sure it goes under the edge tabs, gently hold it in place, and click the load button. Now it will send the information, and when done, you just click the Cricut button. And from here, the machine does the work. And once you're done the cutting, press the eject. And now I'll show you what to do with it from here. So now it's a matter of separating the design from your mat. We now need to load our black vinyl onto here, and we will cut out the back section of our frame. In order to do the next stage of the cutting, we're going to replace our vinyl, our white vinyl rather, with a piece of black here on our mat. Same process as we did before. Make sure that it's tacked down. So with our black vinyl loaded, we will repeat the process, and the first thing it's asking us to do is to load our cutting mat. So we'll just insert it here carefully, making sure we get into the tabs, hold it gently in place, and click load. And now we can see that it is telling us we now need to click the cut button, which we'll do, and it will show us the progress on the screen. At the moment it's preparing, and here it goes cutting. It's just a simple black square here for a frame, so there's really no major cutting. And just like that, we're done, and we can eject our vinyl. So now it's time to put these two pieces together. I have now taken my white vinyl cutting, removed it from its backing, and adhered it to our little square cutout here of black vinyl. So all I need to do is peel this off and stick it onto my glass block wherever I think it suits. So I'm going to adhere that to the glass block. I'm going to continue making other stickers for my glass block and sticking them on in the way that I think suits, in the way that I want to see it come together. And when I'm finished the project, I'll come back and see you. And hopefully from the beginning you'll get the idea of how it is that you can make these vinyl stickers and, you know, apply it to your own projects. So I'll see you in a bit when I get the entire block decorated. And when all is said and done, this is what I ended up with, and I think it looks pretty cool. The vinyl on the different levels of the glass give it kind of a perspective. The coat rack and the framed music note are on the inside face. I have blue vinyl on the back of the glass block, and the ukulele silhouette is on the front of the glass block. So it really adds a little bit of depth. The video doesn't show it that well here, but in person it really stands out and has quite a striking effect. You guys can cut whatever patterns you want. I mean, you don't have to mess around with the JPEGs like what I did. You can find yourself some ready-made SVG files, and those can be added into the Cricut workspace just as well as anything else. And you can just cut them out and apply them as you wish. So use your imagination, throw it all together, give the Cricut a try, and see what you think. And there you have it. An introduction to the Cricut machine. And of course, the completion of our accent lamp. Guys, I have used this machine on several projects, and while it may not be one of those things that you have in your shop, it may be one of those things that you may consider using depending on the type of work that you do. Now, I have used this for various projects, such as here I made a ukulele shaped shaker, and the decal on the front was cut with the Cricut machine out of vinyl, and it worked rather well. I've also used it on my train build. Some of you had followed that build on the channel's Facebook page. The Cricut machine was used to cut the small little decals that are on the train medallions. And of course, if you watched my scale model showcase program or series, it was a two-part series, you'd know that those numbers are a tribute to my father who has passed on. Now, there are many different uses for these, and I'm hoping that on some of the Tuesday shows we're going to incorporate a couple of those uses, and I'll show you some of the other things that it can do. But you can see what a job it did here on our accent lamp, and you know, honestly, if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. And guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's something very different here on the show for a Tuesday, and that's the whole purpose of the Tuesday show, is to bring you something that normally would not be, it would not be in context with the woodworking programs on Friday, so it could pretty much be anything. Now, this here is my wife's machine. I'd like to thank her very much for letting me use it on today's show and for all the times that I've used it for my projects. It may be something that you want to consider for your projects, guys, or who knows, maybe, you know, a friend of yours or your wife or whoever, maybe you already know somebody who has one, and you can talk to them, and if you have the need for some vinyl, maybe you can get in with them and get some stuff cut for your projects. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click that bell so that you don't miss the notifications of future episodes of the show. It's been a lot of fun today, guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're going to try this for yourself. And more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another Alternative Tuesdays.